Video walkthrough on a Rockwood mini Lite. We'll start in the back. You do have a ladder on this, so it is a walkable roof, so you can go up there, and I definitely recommend going up there a couple times a year to inspect your roof. You're looking out all the ceiling and the roof material itself. It's a rubber roof. Got a spot for if you got a hitch receiver, if you want to put like a bike rack, or they make those little like racks you could put on the back for like extra coolers and stuff. You can hook that there. It's not meant for towing, because it's just U-bolted to the bumper. You got stabilizer jacks. You got one in each corner. There's a crank, or you can use a 3/4 inch socket with a drill. If you're going to do it with a drill, just make sure you lubricate it a little bit more often than you normally do. There is a threaded rod that goes through that. You just want to keep that lubricated. Sewer connection. Dump area. That's what you hook your hose up to. Before you hook your hose up to that, make sure those handles are all the way closed like they are now. Unscrew it, that cap, lock your hose onto that. Dump your black. I always do black first, let that drain all the way out, then dump your gray. That's going to flush out your hose, which you can then store in your bumper. Because those caps come off, that's the perfect spot for your sewer hose. And like I said, make sure those valves are closed before you take that cap off, because if they're cracked open, that area section right there is going to be filled with some residue, and you don't want to get that on you. 30 amp short cord. Your short cord, you can see how long it is, about 25-30 feet long. And then twist on to here, covering the camera lens. Twist on to here. Then you can see this little notch right there. You have to feel where the notch lines up with this. Then you can tighten this on. It's gonna keep it from going anywhere. What about that? You have a cable satellite. It even says it right here, cable satellite hookup. So if you have like a portable satellite, you can hook it up there. Or if the park you're at provides park cable, you can hook it up to there. Black tank flush. You can hook a hose up to here when you're dumping your tanks. There's a little nozzle in there that'll flush out your tank. But as the sign says, don't use unless that's open. The valve is open. Otherwise, you're just going to be filling your tank. It'll start coming out your toilet. It'll come out your roof vent stack. It'll just be a nasty mess. Slide seals. Every once in a while, just inspect them. Make sure it's still kind of flexible. Still a little rubbery. If they're dry or cracked, I recommend getting a slide out maintenance done. And you can have us do it, or you can buy the materials to do it yourself. We sell those here. Storage underneath the couch, accessible from outside. Looks like the previous owners have one of these in. This is like a slide stop, so when the slide's closed, you can put it in there, and it wedges it closed, keep it from accidentally opening. Just be careful, because these normally have a tag to hang off the end that lets you know that there's one of these in there. So if you use them, don't forget that you use it to lock your slide closed, because if you try running your slide with that on, you're going to do some damage. Water heater, access outside, very easy to use. You got your anode rod in there. It's already in, it's all set up to go. Definitely recommend draining your water heater after every trip. It takes an 1/16" socket. I use a short socket with an extension, ratcheting wrench to pull that off. Once you pull it off, before you pull it off, relieve your pressure. All you gotta do is pull this out. Water will come out. Once it stops coming out, you can snap that closed. Then you can take your plug out. I recommend draining it after every trip. You don't want water to sit in there to get stagnant. If you want to use it on electric, there's a little switch over there. It's actually on now. You can see it right back there. Down is on. That's for electric. The controls for gas are on the inside. Where easy access to everything. You have access to the water heater from back here, so you can crawl back on the other side. There's your valves in the back of the water heater for your bypass for winterizing, and then you have a pump right here, with a winterization line that goes, I believe, up to your city water. So if you want to winterize it, you turn this the other way. Then you hook a hose, if you have a spare hose like this, you can, right here. So that's your antifreeze inlet. If you have a spare hose like this, you could cut it if you have an extra one, you cut it long enough so you can screw the end into here, set your gallon of antifreeze in here, stick it into your antifreeze, and then you would flip this lever so it's pointing this way. So it's gonna suck from your, instead of sucking from your fresh tank, it's gonna suck from your gallon of antifreeze, and you can winterize it. And then you have a inline filter here. We sell them filters for that here, and these are nice to have. And then you do have, looks like a crank for, I think a manual crank backup for your slide out. That silvery gold brass one is a backup, is a crank for your stabilizer tanks. Oh, this crank right here, sorry, the first one I showed you is a backup for your power tongue jack. So you do have a power tongue jack. Switch right here. Raises and lowers it. Beats hand cranking it every day of the week. Dual 20-pound cylinders. They are filled. Then you got your automatic changeover regulator here. So if it's pointing from there, it's going to pull from this tank first. If this tank were to be depleted, then you would have this one on. It's going to switch to pulling from this tank. However, this won't spin, indicating it's pulling from that tank. So keep that in the back of your mind. I always do one on, I'll leave the other one off. If I'm cooking inside or I'm running the furnace and I notice it stops or the gas is getting low, I come out here, I'll turn this off, I'll turn that on, and I'll switch this over by hand. That way I have in the back of my head, this tank's empty, because you could be halfway through this tank and you still think you're running off of this tank. That's the way I just recommend doing it. Back there, Group 24 battery. It's RV marine grade battery. In the winter, I recommend taking your battery completely out, storing it somewhere warm, like your basement or your garage, somewhere warmer than outside. If it's going to be extended time between trips, I recommend disconnecting your negative lead, the back cable off of your battery, black cable off of the battery. That's going to keep anything from using your battery voltage. Breakaway cable right here hooked to the box. So if you were ever to lose your hitch work or your trailer from your truck, it's going to pull the pin in the box, activate the brakes on the trailer. And then here's your propane covers. Let's go on top. Further access to that storage, where you have a table. That table you can hook onto here. It hooks onto this rail, and a little stand rests on the side, and then you have a little cooktop area there. You can adjust where it sits on there. Yep. Nice spacious storage right there. You can see it. Zoom in. That's your rod for your awning. So the first thing we do is use your rod to flip that to roll down. So you move that black piece down. And you would go through and unclip them like that on either side. And hook your rod to that little loop there. Pull the awning down. I can't do it one-handed, and we can't open it all the way because there's a wall right there. But it'll click. You can hear it ratcheting, click, 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 and it'll be all the way out because you see the bare tube. Once it's out, you can grab these. You'll see when it's out how to do it. You grab these, and it'll be more like this. You can grab it, pull it. You'll slide it up so you're raising the edge up. Do it on both sides, and you can have it uneven. So if it's raining, you can pitch water off to one end. And then there's another bar right here that you would slide up like that. It locks into place. Then you can tighten this knob. And I'm sorry, it's very difficult to do in this small of an area and one-handed trying to hold a camera. So, but these awnings are very easy to use. Exhaust for your furnace. They have these screens on these. That's good. It's gonna keep insects from building up nests or any debris from road debris getting into your exhaust for your furnace. Right here you have a, looks like a propane line right here. So you might have a portable grill. This is a used unit, so the previous owners could have taken their portable grill with them. And we will see as we go inside, because it might be inside. If not, you can buy a grill that fits and hooks up to this propane line. But if you do have one, you hook it to there. It's like a quick disconnect, like an air fitting, and then you would open this valve to turn it on. That's off. Outdoor power outlet. GFCI protected. All your GFCI outlets are on the same circuit. If one trips, all your connected GFCIs are going to trip. And then you do have a cable outlet, which is going to work for your satellite, cable, or antenna, whatever you have hooked up out here. And a TV mount, so you get the other half of these mounts. There might even be one in there, I'm not quite sure. But you can get the other half of these mounts that like slide into here. So if you have an extra TV, you can carry it out here, slide it out there, hook it up to there, and you'll be good to go. Intake for your fridge, your exhaust is on the roof. That's just airflow. Keep it clean. Clean up in here, clean up in there. You can even pop this off, take it off, clean back there, and I definitely recommend doing that pretty often. Same with your furnace. Some debris may sneak by in there, and then same for your water heater. Just open the door, clean back in there, keep it clean. So keep all your appliances clean on the outside and on the inside. Right here, if you are going to be using a range vent, you pop this open. That's going to actually allow the fan to vent somewhere when you're traveling. Snap it closed, and I always recommend snapping it closed overnight, because even though there's a little like screen inside above the stove, insects can still kind of get in there, and you don't want that to happen. That's pretty much it for the outside. We'll mosey onto the inside, and we'll start right here. So you can read battery life, how full your tanks are, and all that from here. Your battery is always going to read full when you're plugged in. You have interior lights. That just turns on. This light right there. The rest of these lights you turn on and off. There's a button in them. You click them like that. You have porch light. There's an amber porch light. You can kind of see it. Let's see if it can't. I'll have to get out. You can see it shining through the door. But you got a porch light right there. Then you have your slide out controls, in or out, which means you slide out. Just when you run your slide out, just make sure things aren't in the way. If you have children, or if you drop something on the floor, or something like pebbles or rocks, if you run your slide out over that, even a pebble can scratch the flooring. So just keep that area clear. You have your water pump if you are going to use your water from your tank, or your onboard fresh tank, which you fill. I think I might have glossed over that. Let's see if we can go back out. And I apologize if I missed anything like that. Yeah, see, it was above this compartment door that was open. That's where you fill your onboard fresh tank. You would fill that if you were going somewhere that didn't have water. Fill your onboard tank, and you can run off of that. And that's when you would run your pump to do your water from there. And then to drain it, right there. And we were just draining. The technician working on this was fill the water heater to test it, so he's just draining it now to get all the water out of that. But those are your low points, so you can drain the water to the lowest point. And then right there, that's your drain for your fresh tank. And I recommend draining that after every trip too, because water that sits in there will start to get stagnant. Now we can actually go back in the inside. And then you have controls for water heater on gas, water heater on electric. If you turn this on and that switch that I showed you outside is off, it's not going to do anything. So make sure you have that switch on. It's GFCI outlet down here. This is the one that you reset. So all your outlets labeled GFCI. If they trip, you come in here and reset it at this outlet right here. It's going to be your entertainment area. So you can have a TV here. If you have a satellite hooked up outside, like I was showing you those satellite spots, hook it there if you're hooked to cable or antenna. Right there, and this is an antenna you can use. If you are using your antenna, make sure this is on. So the button will be a little bit lower than the one, and the green light will be on. That's your booster for your antenna. Then you have another GFCI outlet, that'd be power for your TV. Charging center, 12 volt, dual USBs. They even make 12 volt TVs, so you can plug your TV in through here. Radio, very simple to use. Hit it on. Hit it on. Let's see if we can't. There we go. So right here is your, where is it? Right here, your tuner. Right here is volume. Then you have zones right here. So zone one is those two speakers above the bed. Zone 2 is these two speakers right here. And then zone 3 is outside. Your volume up here. Turn that off. There we go. You can also scan through channels this way or this way. This very easy to use. Excuse me. And you have modes. You can go through modes. Bluetooth. So you look on your phone, you'd look for the IRV technologies. You can Bluetooth your phone for that. You have AV in. So if you have an auxiliary cord, you could hook it to there. You have, if you have an SD card with music on it, you have a USB port right there. And this is you would ignore because these radios are pretty universal depending on how they use them. This is an HDMI, but there's no HDMI output there. You can. It does have a CD player. You can do CD through there, right there. Just go through that. So a lot of the settings in here you wouldn't need, and then you got presets here. Push and hold to save a preset, just like your car radio. Very easy to use. Very nice radio. We'll come in through here to the bathroom. Not a whole heck of a lot going on. Another GFCI outlet. This, if you are traveling, make absolutely sure you lock this. Otherwise, these are just going to be swinging all over the place, and you might end up with broken ones. Shower, very simple. Hot and cold, nice little sunlight, sunroof, so you can, if you get a little natural light in there, and if you're taller, you can actually stand up in them. Some of them, they don't give you enough headroom, and I'm only 5'10", and I sometimes have to. Some of them you have to crouch in when you're working on. Toilet, very simple. As long as you're pushing this pedal, it's going to keep flushing. Fan vent right here, so you can turn your fan on. Then you just crank this to open it. There's already a max air vent cover on it, which is nice. Crank it tight. Turn it off. So when you turn it on, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the speeds. When you raise this, see, you close it, and then you think it's closed. You have to keep turning this a little more. That keeps that lid snug. Then you have your switch for your light in here. Very simple. Right, just like your bathroom at home. Pretty similar to that. Thermostat controls for your furnace. You just flip this over, then you change your temperature settings. And then this will tell you what temperature it is in the room. So there isn't like an exact setting temperature you can set it at. Just go warm or warmer. Another GFCI out. This does turn into a bed. Excuse me. It's a jackknife, so you just lift up the bottom here. Pivot like that. There's that storage compartment. Bedroom area. Easy. You got outlet there. Plenty of storage over there. And then I do believe you can. Yep, nothing. Right here. Yep. Storage underneath the bed. Fridge, very simple to use. On or off. Auto or gas. So if it's out like that, it's gas. If it says check light on, either the gas isn't on when you're running gas, or the gas hasn't reached the fridge yet. Auto, I just recommend leaving an auto. It's going to default to 110, so when you're plugged in, that's what it's going to use. If your campground would lose power, or someone would unplug you on accident, your fridge is going to switch to running off of propane. Nice spacious fridge. These do take a little bit longer to get cold, unlike your fridge at home. This will probably take anywhere from 8 to 10 hours to get to operating temperature. Below that, breaker box. All your breakers for your 120 volt appliances. All your fuses for your 12 volt. So you have all 15s, 240s. Recommend carrying some spare fuses. Right there, you got an RV carbon monoxide and propane gas alarm that's hardwired to the 12 volt system. There's no batteries you have to worry about changing. However, if your battery up front starts to die, this will start throwing like chirps. Like your smoke alarm at home will chirp when the battery's low. This will do the same thing. If that were the case, plug the camper in, let your battery get charged up. Or if it gets really bad, you might have to put a new battery up front in there. So that's hardwired to 12 volt system. That's one of the things that always uses voltage always uses power as well as your radio. Even if the radio is off, you have radio memory because it remembers your presets, and that's always using a little bit of power. Microwave only works when you're plugged in. Other than that, it's like your microwave at home. Light here, fan. Cooktop, very easy to use. Fold the glass cover up like that. That'll act as your backsplash. Turn it to light. Hit your sparker. It'll light. We have all the gas off, so it's not going to light now. But these are very easy to use. However, you don't use your sparker for your stove. Or oven rather. You turn it to pilot on. You push and hold. You look in there, you can see a pilot right there. You push and hold pilot. You get a lighter and you light that pilot. Barbecue lighter, match, whatever you can reach. Once the pilot is lit, then you can turn it to whatever temperature you want. So that'll turn the burner on. It'll cycle on and off to regulate the 350. If you know you're going to cook again a few hours, if you turn it to pilot on, it shuts your burners off, leaves the pilot on. That way you don't have to relight the pilot. I recommend turning your pilot off before you go to bed. You don't want to lit pilot overnight. Fold the glass top down. Plenty of cabinet storage over there. Right in here, it's going to be all your manuals. Every appliance has got a manual in there. There's going to be a pretty broad manual for the unit in there too. Antenna. So if you're going to use your antenna, you crank it up. You can follow the chart. This way is up, that way is down. Once it's all the way up, here we go up. Crank it up. You can feel it when it's up because it gets harder to crank. You don't want to over crank it. There we go. You can pull this down and you can rotate your antenna to tune in the signal. Now if you're going to lower it, make sure these two triangles are lined up. There's a little V-shaped cradle on the roof that the antenna needs to sit in, so it needs to be lined up. There you go, we're close. And then last appliance before we conclude our tour, AC. Very easy to use. You got a knob, turn it, low fan, that's just gonna run the fan, no compressor, low fan again, high fan. Low cool, that's going to actually be the AC, and then high cool. And then you have your temperature. Although it's labeled red right here, you can see that there's no heat. It's just, that means it's the warmest cold it can get, and that's the coldest cold it can get. And then you can open these and change the flow of the air coming out with these right here. All right. And that concludes the tour of our Rockwood Mini.